Well, I'm embarrassed to admit this, but my hydroponic garden is not thriving the way I expected. In fact, what I discovered this week is going to change how I go about gardening in my grow dome this summer. So let me explain what happened. So last week I was out of town for over 5 days. I moved all of my hydroponics to the windowsill. I thought things would be okay for a while, but not checking in on my plants definitely had some consequences. In fact, when I came back, things were not looking good. Plants were droopy, things were yellow, leaves were curled up, and it wasn't until I got a really clear look, really close up, when I finally figured out what was going on. When I got really close up, and I mean really close up, and I looked at the little tiny leaves, I could tell I had a major problem. I had an infestation of aphids. So I didn't even know that you could get aphids in the wintertime. Like, most likely scenario, they came in from some other plants from the grocery store, like the lettuces I was growing. Super disappointing. Like, I didn't know what to do. I thought I had to throw everything away. Immediately, I went to research and figure out what I could do naturally to take care of pests, because although my hydroponics is a small scale, when I go to the greenhouse, it's going to be very much more large scale, and I don't want to screw up that. Let me tell you what I did to remedy the situation. So the first thing that I did was I took a really clear look at every single plant that was getting affected, and any aphid that I saw with my eyeballs, I squished with my fingers. I physically removed the aphids. If you look online, that's what the #1 recommendation is, to blast your aphids with hose water or a stream of water to try to physically remove them. So while physical removal of aphids is pretty easy to do on a small scale, it's a lot harder to do on a larger scale. So you need to think about hitting those pest problems from multiple angles. So the second thing that I did was I went online to order neem oil. Neem oil is like an essential oil of a plant that disrupts the hormonal cycle of the aphid and killing the aphid. So it's kind of like using essential oils. It's on order, it's arriving tomorrow, but it's something I definitely want to have on hand in the greenhouse when I start to see small infestations, to start to use some of those natural practices right away. The third thing that I did was kind of sad. I actually chucked a lot of my plants. So things that I weren't really emotionally attached to, like the grocery store lettuce, the watercress, and some of the plants that just I knew weren't going to survive, I just threw them away. I threw away the worst of the lot, pretty much narrowing down my hydroponics to 1/3 of what they were. So very disappointing. But you got to do what you got to do, right? You just can't provide the environment for aphids. But that's not the end of the story. So the exciting part of all of this is that while I was managing the aphids, I look really closely and I see yet another garden pest, except this was one of the beneficial insects that you want that can help control aphids, and that is ladybugs. But miraculously in March, we have a ladybug marching along the surface of the greens, gobbling down the aphids, and it's like a true garden miracle. And that's when it hit me, like, this is the kind of integrated pest management I want to do in our greenhouse. I want it to be organic vegetables. I don't want to be using insecticides that are chemically produced, and who knows, what the other side effects are. So I'm going to be using a combination of the physical removal and also integrated pest management using ladybugs. And I think lacewings is another good one. And another one I want to get are praying mantises. So praying mantises can take care of a lot of like larger insect and infestations. Yeah, definitely a bummer. And it's been kind of a bummer so far because the growth has been really slow. But I don't know how long the aphids have been there because I hadn't really looked for them. So it was definitely unexpected and could be an explanation of why my hydroponics haven't really taken off and why I've had some seedlings like where the leaves just sort of dry up and fall over. So some of the signs of having aphids is that it really sucks the sap right out of the stems. So you can have leaves that fall over, like the middle of the stem dries up, or the edges of the leaves start to curl, or you can even have yellowing of the leaves. I'm dressed in black today. I'm in mourning for a lot of the loss, but I think it's good to get some of these learning curves out of the way before I go big scale with the greenhouse, because that's when the losses can really add up. Anyways, guys, what I still have left, I've got arugula, I've got bok choy, I've got cilantro, some dill, sage, thyme, and holy basil. So I definitely have some plants that I'm excited to see them get bigger. And I have on order some more seed start plugs. So now that we're closer to spring planting, I'm definitely going to beef up some of my seed starting right now. Kind of a bummer, but I think the plants that I have are pretty hardy, so I'm rooting for them. And definitely stay tuned for my next video where I'm going to show you how to scale up from a DIY system into more technologically advanced DWC system using recirculating air. So definitely stay tuned for that. That'll be my next video. Anyways, guys, let me know if you run across any insects in your hydroponic grow indoors. I was just surprised to see insects inside in the wintertime, but that kind of stuff happens. So drop me a note in the comments if you have any suggestions about how you deal with insects in your garden. Definitely let me know in the comments what your strategies are. Here's to healthy growing, and we'll see you in the next video.